Okay, today taking a look at the Powcog Electricians screwdrivers. Bit of a weird name, that Powcog. Take a look at them anyway.
Alright, so we're taking a look at the Powcog 1000 volt rated professional electrical screwdriver set. Now, Powcog, that's a weird name. Now, the company does come on the back from South Wales, and its parent company is called Zephyr Online, so it might be a Welsh thing, Powcog. So that's probably where it comes from. I don't know, but it could very well be a Welsh word there. So eBay was over the Christmas period was dishing out like discount codes and things like that. And I kind of thought, well, for the work bag, I kind of needed some electrical screwdrivers. I don't really tend to use them that much. Usually, it's if you know something's disconnected, and from the mains, a machine, it's got an electrical component to it, and you've got like terminal blocks to screw some wires down in a terminal block and things like that. Usually it's disconnected from the mains anyway, so you could usually get away with using a normal screwdriver for that. But terminal blocks kind of like a block with a brass part inside and two brass screws either end that's coated in plastic. So you put the bare wire in one end, screw it down, lock it down, and the other one in the other end, screw it down, lock it down. But they're usually kind of attached to the inside of a machine. So it is good to have the proper electrical screwdrivers as well. But when it's disconnected from the mains, 9 times out of 10 they do say you've got to be careful for residual power that's left in things like transformers and things like that. So that's one thing that you have to look out for. But you also, where it mainly comes from, you have to look out for people switching a machine on that you might be working on. Accidentally, they might throw a switch and turn it on, and you've got your screwdriver in the workings of the machine, and that's what will protect you from getting electric shock, is the insulation on these screwdrivers. So there is always that. Now, I saw these, I think they were about £7.50, something like that, £7, £7.50, and I thought, well, I was going to pick up some wearer or wear set for at home, but I thought, for work where there might not be, you see, there's a lot of disciplines I can go into from my electrical, my engineering side of things. So there's either a slight bit of electrical side, there's a slight bit of machining, tool making, that kind of side of thing, which would be the main area. But there's also mechanical assembly and that kind of area as well, which these would be useful for. So I do kind of need some more in there after the a couple of the German, was it, I think what they're called now, HSW, I think they are, that a couple of the electric ones when that kit got stolen. So I was kind of looking, and then I thought, well, if they've got the discount code, maybe you get it down to about £2. They'd be ideal for around about £2. But I actually used the code previously on a digital micrometer, so we'll still take a look at that in the future. But I ended up actually paying the £7.45 for these, because eBay basically said you could use the code all day long, but but it was a bit of a marketing ploy, because you could only use it once within that time. So I ended up paying the £7.45 for these, but they should be alright for the rare occasion that I would use them if I'm working in the future in that environment. So they are rated at 1000 volts. They are import screwdrivers. It says they're PP injection, TPR injection, PAH free materials, and all that nonsense on there. And it does say it's a highly alloyed chrome vanadium steel. Now the thing with these is, yes, they are import screwdrivers. We can see they're import screwdrivers. They are rated for 1000 volts, however. You might think, you know, yeah, but do we take that as a pinch of salt because they're import screwdrivers? Well, actually, these import screwdrivers are actually subjected to European testing. So they're not just your straight off the boat. You know, would I lie to you? Import screwdrivers, if you take that, you know, in that kind of meaning. So this product has been evaluated, tested and certified for electrical safety by an independent accredited third party. So they have actually been tested as being up to the standards that they are saying on the box and on the screwdrivers themselves. So we've got a 7-piece set. We've got Phillips 75mm, Phillips 1x75mm, Phillips 2x100mm, and you've got your basic flathead, which they call SL here. You can see the sizes there. There's no point in going through them all again. They're just there, easy to read on the screen. And so it says with soft handles and magnetic tips, so they have been magnetised. Again, that would be no good for computer use really, because you're not supposed to. I know people do, but you're not supposed to use magnetic tools in a computer environment because of CMOS and other things like hard drives and things like that. You can interfere with the magnetism aspects of things. You can wipe data and you know, corrupt data and things like that. So as we say, it's Zephyr Online, it's the parent company, and it's Powcog in South Wales. So the Powcog is probably a Welsh influence there, Welsh language. So I'm just assuming. I take it that's the catalogue number there. Maybe not. So if we get these open, and take a look at these, zoom out a bit, see the whole screwdriver as a whole. We've got our, well, now we've come to kind of recognise these as kind of an import style handle. You know, kind of screams out. There's a lot of companies out there have got exactly the same handle, and they've just got their name printed on it. A lot of well-to-do companies, or well-known branded companies as well, on the exact kind of screwdrivers and handles. And again, we see our ratings there on the actual screwdriver, 1000 volts. We've got the pH, it's pH 2 times 100, and we've got our standards there on there. So it says it's a highly alloyed chrome vanadium, whatever that means. Can't just see the finish on there, and that does go all the way back into the handle, because I'll say that because there's a lot of cheap electrical screwdrivers out there in the past, especially around about the turn of the millennium, that you see these kind of shoulders that you always have on these insulated electrical screwdrivers about here. Well, a lot of the early Chinese ones, or import ones from India or wherever, they were coming down. The actual metal tip was coming down to the shoulder and was just stopping there and wasn't going all the way back into the handle. So what had happened is eventually, you know, it'd probably be glued in there and fixed in there, and then eventually, after you've used it a handful of times, that would all give way in there and the tip would just spin. So you'd be there with a screwdriver and it would just be spinning. So in the olden days they would con you and kind of fix it in and stop the metal bit there. But you can tell if you actually hold it, you can actually hold it to the light, where you can actually tell, because you can actually see the dark black going all the way back. You can tell it's under there, if you know what I mean. You can actually tap as well. If you can feel that it's solid in there. So and with these being tested to meet the standards, you would expect that anyway, having passed them. So that's what the tip itself looks like on these. So they're not too expensive, they meet the standards. Like I say, I'd probably only use them once every now and again. I'd probably use a basic screwdriver. Now they're not, the one thing, they're not exactly equal in how they've been spaced out, like between Phillips and flat end. So you would expect there would be there's the longest one in flat end here, and you would expect that there would be one that's equal in size as a Phillips, but there isn't. This is actually the biggest Phillips that they have, and it's, you know, I mean, that the flat end is longer, so this is like the longest Phillips that you will find. However, a lot of the time when it comes to terminal blocks with those little brass screws, no matter what the size of them, they are usually a flathead. So it probably takes into account that the flathead is probably the the most used tip out of these kind of screwdrivers. If we take a look at the again, exactly the same handle, just that the length is a lot longer. Again, it goes all underneath, it goes all the way back into the handle, so you don't have to worry about that. And there's the actual tip. We can zoom in a little bit better. Again, so you might be able to, I mean, the wearer set, you can get a wearer set for electricals a little bit more, so say about £13, between £13 and £15. So if you wanted to spend double, you could always pick that up. I thought I was picking up these with the discount coupon for even less, so was why I'll give them a try, but they're actually not that bad for around about £7. They don't seem that bad, they're not wall to wall brilliant, but they cost £7.50, so you have to kind of expect that. Again, in those mid-sized screwdrivers, the flat end is the longer one. I know a lot of companies will usually do it like for like, but not here. In the smaller sizes. A little bit scratched on there, I think, maybe. Transport, so the moulding didn't quite reach to the very back on that one, on that handle. And it comes all the way back. So not the best, but they have been tested and rated to meet the standards for a cheap set. I mean, for me, I'd probably just use them for 2 minutes to put some wires in a terminal, you know, on a machine, or change a, you know, maybe even just change a plug over on a machine. So you know, for that kind of use, they would be fine. But you know, for, you know, double that, you could probably pick up a wearer set, a classic wearer electrical set. So you know, they're always an option. It's always an option for you, those Powcog electrical screwdrivers.